Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. I've done a number of videos on this channel kind of talking about this topic, or maybe I should say maybe talking around it. There was a recent article in the Bangkok Post I thought really kind of drove home a lot of the way I think, or my thinking on this, and how we all need to maybe have a paradigm shift about our current response to dealing with this pandemic situation. And a recent article from the Bangkok Post, it's bangkokpost.com, article is titled, "Time to Accept We Can't Beat COVID-19." And this is from an author, a writer I really do like to read. Primarily, he seems to write a lot on economics, and I find his opinions very insightful. Charchai Parasuk. But again, time to accept we can't beat COVID-19, bangkokpost.com. Quoting directly, "If the government does not wish to see a collapse of society, it must rethink its COVID-19 strategy. First, it must admit that the COVID-19 outbreak is not controllable after the outbreak has changed from the cluster level, individual-based, to the community level, activity-based." Quoting further, "But when the virus spread into communities where no patient zero can be identified and isolated, shutting down communities, businesses like construction sites, markets, and restaurants has profound effects on the economy because communities produce substantial economic value. There is an estimate showing that prohibiting in-restaurant dining is costing the economy 1 billion baht per day." Quoting further, "One local example is Malaysia, which has imposed 4 rounds of national lockdown, known locally as MCO, Movement Control Order. So far, they have not been able to curb the spread of the disease. Each time an MCO order is eased, a new round of outbreak occurs. It is estimated that each day of lockdown costs the Malaysian economy 1 billion ringgit, about 7.7 billion baht. Because of the current lockdown, the World Bank lowered Malaysia's economic growth forecast for this year from 6 to 4.5%. Quoting further, "Even with such economic sacrifices, the outbreak is not easing enough, and a 2-week curfew, which started on July 3rd, was imposed in the richest state of Selangor and the capital Kuala Lumpur. Could you imagine the impacts of the curfew on the already difficult economy? Many Malaysians are now begging for help by hanging white flags in front of their houses." And I can't agree more with his analysis in here, and I urge those who are watching this video to go check that out, as it's very insightful. There's way more in there. But yeah, to just sort of sum it up, and I've been discussing this too, we've done a couple of videos quoting what's going on quoting ministers down in Singapore who were talking about, look, we're going to have to start treating this like an endemic disease rather than a pandemic disease. As I've used the term multiple times, the horse is bolted. The horse has left the barn. We're trying to close the barn door after the horse is gone. Unfortunately, the community spread phase of this appears to have long been underway, and it looks to me like we're still trying to approach this as if that hasn't occurred yet. We're like trying to forestall that. Well, as I talked about in another video, containment, for example, is maybe not the best way to do things. Or the best paradigm to have, this notion of containment, as opposed to saying, look, we got to deal with this, let's figure out how to deal with it, and also we've got to have an economy. I mean, the thing that really scares me in this latest, whatever you want to call it, lockdown, non-lockdown, more stringent measures, restrictions, whatever euphemism you want to use for it. I mean, the thing that really scares me and the thing that makes me really sad for Thailand and for Bangkok and for everybody involved is it's devastating economically. I mean, I did a video a couple months back where I said, we could see the economy decimated. I don't think we're going to be too far off from that coming off of this, going into August. And let's say the greatest thing happens and COVID vanishes. Where are we going to be if COVID vanishes and we're standing here on August 1, no more COVID, but what would we be at? 16 months at that point of really harsh lockdown. And I just can't imagine the recovery is going to be anything but difficult. And the more that we do this stuff, the more difficult that presumptive recovery is going to be. The point of this video and the reason for making it is hopefully, as with this being in the Bangkok Post, maybe some sort of paradigm shift is forthcoming and we can start to look at this in a different way and hopefully in a way where we can incorporate concerns for the economy as well as concerns for public health.